You're listening to Bit Harmony, a video game music podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Seth.
And on today's episode, we're just kind of giving you a vibe check and letting you hear what we're all about. And we're starting off the vibes with the best vibes of all time, Monkey Target 2. Welcome to Bit Harmony. I am half of your hosting squad, Matt.
Oh man, we have is it a squad? If it's two people, is it a squad? I guess
it should be.
Yeah.
Why not? My cat's sleeping in the background. He's also here.
Cat squad.
This is the crew. We'll call it the crew. We're the Bit Harmony crew.
The Bit Harmony crew. Now we're like a rapping duo, like a Toe Jam and Earl-esque sort of rapping or hip hop duo, I think, is what I think of it as.
What was in Toe Jam and Earl 3? There was like a third character, LaFonda or something.
Yeah, that's like the love interest, right? Of Toe Jam.
I think so. Cookie the cat is LaFonda. That's
the LaFonda of the podcast. Cookie the cat. Already kind of off the rails. Yeah, I'm Seth. I'm the other half of the Toe Jam and Earl-esque rapping duo that is Bit Harmony. I'm excited. I was thinking as I was making my wife a cup of tea this morning and myself a cup of coffee, do you think that this podcast, as we sit here on our maiden voyage, is this like a more coffee-coated podcast or a tea-coated podcast, do you think?
I guess it partially depends on the type of tea. I'm much more of a coffee.
Tea.
Okay, peppermint tea. I'm generally more of a coffee person. And I guess this kind of segues us into part of our introduction of like the vibes that we're going for.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess before we answer the tea or coffee question, this is a video game music podcast. It's going to be us two talking about video games and video game music. And we're going to be playing snippets of... I shouldn't say snippets. We're going to be playing whole damn songs for you on this podcast. As well as some of this other banter. And yeah, I would like this to be just a more kind of conversational hangout kind of thing. So to me, tea is kind of like fuddy-duddy.
A little.
Like I like tea here and there. Okay, I'll also say before I lived with my wife, she's a huge tea drinker. I probably had tea like 3 times in my life before I lived with my wife. And I'll be honest, I kind of just thought tea was just like dirt in water. And to be fair, like when I make her Earl Grey, like we get like the fancier, more expensive like packet of grounds. Like we're not using tea bags. I'm actually having to like put it in the infuser and stuff.
Yeah.
It literally is just like sticks. I'm just making her like twig water, but she likes it. So
no, it's delicious. I would say because for those, I guess to introduce ourselves a little bit, like you live in Europe, like you live in Germany, and I live here in the United States, and I would say that tea is largely a more European thing in general.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's like a broad generalization or whatever, but I feel like tea is more European. I feel like it's more of a part of European culture. And so when I meet people and I will, whatever, we go out to a cafe and I'll order like a tea, like they'll look at me kind of sideways like, tea? Like, who are you drinking tea? Like get a latte like the rest of us Americans, and I love coffee and I love tea. But to your point about it being like kind of a fuddy-duddy drink, like it's definitely a bit of a, like, I don't know, more formal, or it's something that you drink when you're like sick, or something.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. Coffee's more fun. It's more high octane, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I get excited. My wife loves putting. We buy this like caramel that you're supposed to put on ice cream, but we just dump it in our coffee, and that's
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
pretty good.
But yeah, I personally envision this as more of like a Sunday morning with a cup of coffee
Love it.
show. Specifically, I would also say in my head when we first started talking about this months ago. Immediately what sprang to mind was like listening to NPR while you're like
Hmm.
driving to your in-laws house on a Sunday for dinner or lunch maybe. Uh, but instead
Yeah.
of like NPR hosts, it's two goobers talking about video game music.
Yeah, I think so. And I think too, something that we should say, this is not like a sort of Kirk Hamilton-esque, you're coming here for professional
Right.
analysis of of video game music. Like something that I think that you and I are both passionate about and connect on a lot is the value or importance that we placed on like lived experiences through video games, and video game music is such a strong component of that. We both love video game music, obviously. But like in our analysis or whatever of video game music, I think you're going to find that it's more about what it means to us on a personal level and less about like, let's talk about the instrumentation and like the chord progression and stuff. There may be a little bit of that, but I don't think you're coming in here for a detailed breakdown of that kind of thing.
Right. It's mostly just an excuse to get together and talk about some cool music.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I played a little bit of trumpet and alto saxophone in middle school and a little bit
Oh,
of high
hell yeah.
school, but that was a long time ago, and I can't really tell you what I think about a song's like actual writing beyond, hey, I like it at this part. I like it when that saxophone comes in. That was pretty cool. So it's going to be a lot of yeah, relating it to our lives, talking about how the songs made us feel and that kind of stuff. Yeah, if you're wanting like a more thorough technical breakdown of stuff, yeah, this ain't for you. But if you just want to hear some cool music interspersed between us talking about stuff, I think this is for you. How about that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be fun. And we've talked about things that we would like to do kind of in the future with the show too. Like maybe we will, kind of talk about whatever composers or like, maybe even like interviews. And we've talked about all of that stuff. There's no limit to what we could cover on the show. But yeah, I think it's mostly going to be lived experiences through video game music. I think it'll be fun. Good vibes.
Yeah, I do too. And I guess real quick we'll go over so this first episode, or this 0th episode,
Yes.
is we kind of got together and we wanted to just bring you like a sampling or a medley maybe
A
of,
mixtape?
yeah, there you go, of like just a handful of songs each that represents our taste in music or video game music or us. So to clarify, the songs that you're going to hear on the rest of this episode, this isn't like a best video game song list or anything like that. They are good, but that's not what this is. This is just to give you a little sample of what we're going for, what the future might be with this show. Our future format is going to be, at least at the time of this recording, one specific game per episode going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we might get into like, we'll talk about a specific composer per episode, blah blah blah. That might happen in the future, but the plan as of right now, going forward, it will be a singular game per episode, and we will talk about the next episode later on in this episode, if that's not too confusing.
Too many uses of the word episode.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, you're right. Like it's going to be like, we'll do like kind of single game focus, and we can, I mean, from there we can play, we can do whatever we want. We'll figure it out.
Excuse me for having an episode.
Right.
Do we want to then, sorry, there's an ambulance going by. I'm just going to.
Always an ambulance. The German ambulances, dude. Always
it's
a
funny,
thing.
We don't even live on that busy of a street, and we don't live that close to a hospital, so I don't know what's going on. But
they wait for you to start recording a podcast.
Yeah. It certainly feels like that sometimes. So then do we want to get into, before we get into the songs, just talking about our taste in video game music in general then a bit?
Sure.
I had a couple, I don't want to call them prompts, that makes it sound like we're in like an interview or something, but I was just thinking about like, and I'll just ask this to you and that could be the start of it. Like, do you have any specific songs or video game soundtracks in general that like really made you realize how much you loved video game music, that made you realize you might even like music for the first time?
Yeah, I've thought about this before, and I think that I mean, music in general has been a big part of my life, my entire life. My my mom, like growing up, like her, like when I was born, she was working in like the radio industry. So
okay.
I've always kind of liked this, like this whole thing. Like I was always kind of conditioned for music, radio, podcasting, whatever. She worked in that field for many years. Mm-hmm. And I always kind of grew up around it. And I've always loved music. But for video game music in particular, and this is going to seem kind of like whatever, generic. I think this is probably the same answer for a lot of people. But Final Fantasy VI, I think, was the first time I was like, oh, like video game music. That was the first time I remember like looking at a game's credits because I wanted to find out who did the music. Mm. And I was probably, I don't know, 8 or something, playing that game. And I remember specifically, and it's not even close to being my favorite track in the game, but it's the Phantom Train scene in that game with like Sabin and Cyan and Cyan's family and everything getting onto the Phantom Train. Mm-hmm. Something about like the whole sound design of that entire like dungeon in quotes of that game, like the way that the train, like you could hear like the every few seconds that like it going over the rails, you know. Mm-hmm. And like the music that plays in that scene, I was like, yo, this is like sick. Like it really kind of captured my imagination as a kid, and I remember like that was kind of it made me pay attention to the music of that game, and music's a huge part of that game, obviously. But that was the first one where I was like, yo, video game music. And I think I played that game before I played Donkey Kong Country. But it was one of those two. Like, those are the two earliest touchstones of my memory of, damn, video game music is good.
Right.
What about you?
Yeah, obviously, yeah, you brought up Donkey Kong Country. That is... Again, I don't know which came first, either Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or Donkey Kong Country, but those are the two games that I most remember just impacting me in general, just like from like a visual standpoint, but then specifically the music. I have a very vivid memory of being like 7 or 8 years old, and I was sick, and I wanted to take a bath, but I also wanted to hear Donkey Kong Country music. And in the days before YouTube, it was a lot harder to pull something like that off. So I just turned the game on, and I went into a level, probably an aquatic ambience level would be my guess.
Yeah, dude.
And I paused the game and then took a bath with the TV blaring in the other room. So I
That's
could
a great bath.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a bath.
Even for like, that's too distinguished of a bath for like a 7-year-old. I need like a pipe or something. But yeah, Donkey Kong Country is like always the thing I think of the most. In like I said, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, that always kind of hit me more in like the, I don't know, like the dancey side of things. Mm-hmm. I'll also throw out the Streets of Rage series in general, and that can also take us into our next question. But yeah, Yuzo Koshiro is gun to my head, probably my favorite video game music composer of all time.
Yeah.
It's hard to make that call, but if I had to, I think it's him. And it's funny being a little bit older and understanding where his inspirations were coming from, because Streets of Rage 2 is it's basically just straight up club music translated to a Sega Genesis sound chip. But yeah, I specifically remember, like, I don't know, as a kid, like on the weekend playing Streets of Rage 2 with my mom, and like even she, who does not have any major inclination towards music or anything, but even she was like, wow, this music is real good. So yeah, I guess, yeah, those three, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Streets of Rage 2, and Donkey Kong Country would be my picks for, like, yeah, when I sat up and realized, like, whoa, this is this video game music, this might have something here. But yeah, I mentioned Yuzo Koshiro as probably my favorite composer. Do you have any short list of your favorite composers?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite composer is Yasunori Mitsuda, which again, I think is maybe a bit of like I think a lot of people's favorite composer is probably Yasunori Mitsuda, but I've always resonated with him, and like not even just his music. I think his music is phenomenal, but like I love how kind of like almost punk rock he is in a weird way. Like he just kind of like does whatever he wants, and I love how there's no connective thread between here's me doing Mario Party and here's me doing Chrono Trigger. You know, I love that about him. So his work's always, you know, inspired me. Yeah, I mean, we've brought up Donkey Kong. You know, David Weiss is, you know, I love his stuff. Yoko Shimomura is another one of my favorites. But the number one, the GOAT, as the kids say, for me, is Yasunori Mitsuda.
Yeah, it was funny, and I think I talked to you about this recently, but I did not realize that he did the soundtrack for the first Mario Party until it came out on the N64 app on Switch, and I was listening to it for the first time in decades. I was like, who did this? Like, this sounds like, it genuinely sounds like an RPG soundtrack, but in this goofy mini game starring Mario and friends. And yeah, I looked it up. I was like, oh, okay. Yasunori Mitsuda, that makes perfect sense.
It's crazy. Like that, I think I listen to that Rainbow Castle track from that game all the time, which like might as well be, I mean, especially this is like burned into my brain. This comparison is burned into my brain, especially now that I've heard the incredible, I've shared this with you before, but one of my favorite soundtracks, the N64 Evangelion Japan only game, and the soundtrack of that game being done in the Mario 64 like sound font. It's my favorite. You should all YouTube it. It's my favorite thing. But after hearing that, I was like, damn, like his soundtrack on Mario Party 1 is a little like Evangelion coded. Like it's kind of like that, and I love it very much. It just doesn't, there's nothing else that sounds like it. And I mean, like for me, like my favorite song of all time, video game music or otherwise, is Too Far Away Times from Chrono Trigger. Like that's my favorite piece of music ever composed. And so, you know, and I'm sure that at some point in the future we might do a whole Mitsuda episode, a whole Chrono Trigger episode, a whole Mario Party 1 episode, who knows, but yeah, he's it for me, dude.
Yeah, it's funny. I think Chrono Trigger is an excellent game. I've never been on board the like, hey, this is one of the best games of all time train. But like, yeah, you mentioned the name of like any song off that soundtrack, including To Faraway Times, and it's just one of those soundtracks. I instantly hear it in my head, and I'm like, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know why this impacted you so much. I didn't play Chrono Trigger until the DS port. That was like 2008 or something like that. So I was like a teenager, or actually an adult at that point. And yeah, that game still hit me pretty hard. And yeah, that To Faraway Times is absolutely beautiful. That is a gorgeous song.
I want it to be played at my funeral. Like, I'm one of those weirdos that, like, I think about, like, what I want my funeral to be to be like, and I want that song, like, whatever happens, if I'm being cremated, if you're shooting my ashes out of a cannon, if you're lowering, I don't care. I just want that song to be playing through it for whatever reason. Like, it's just beautiful. I could go on and on.
I'm imagining like a flaming Viking barge, but in outer space,
Yeah.
and then To Faraway Times playing it.
Shoot a space arrow at my floating, like, space Viking casket in the stars. Just something about it, just, man, it just, that song does it for me, dude. I can't listen to it without welling up, like, even all this time later. But yeah, I like I said, I could go on and on. I should say, and this is something that we were kind of talking about too, like, some of the music that we're going to talk about in this episode is not going to be, like, objective. It's not like this is our favorite or our best, whatever list. But some of the songs we're going to talk about are just, like, impactful, like, tastemaker mixtape thing. So
Right. On that note, do we want to get to our picks?
Let's do it. Yeah. Before people start being like, why?
Where's the
Seth
music?
Where's the music? Seth just talked about To Faraway Times. It's not even on his list. What? So.
Do you want me to go with one of my picks first?
Go for it. Yeah.
I figured we'd open with Fat Tony's Casino from the game No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. That was composed by Shingo Murakami and Ryoji Nishida. And I guess we're going to play that for you right now. Have you ever played No One Can Stop Mr. Domino? Or did you even, were you aware of it beforehand?
I was aware of it, and I think I had seen it at maybe a GDQ or something like that. I think that's how I was made aware of it. Never played it when the game came out. I always like, because I think I saw a speed run of it, like I said, and I think it's like this endless runner sort of puzzle game thing, but I was definitely not familiar with the soundtrack until, like, you sent me your list and I was listening to it. And by the way, I've got my notebooks in front of me, and I've just got a page full of notes about all of your songs. Because what I did, I don't know what your approach to this was I just kind of, dark room in my office, headphones on, listened to all of your picks like multiple times and just wrote down my thoughts, like notes, and just kind of chicken scratched my thoughts down. And I've got a lot of notes on this one, so it's good.
Well, yeah, we'll see. So yeah, I did a similar thing. I have a separate notepad up on my desktop with notes, but I don't think well, I guess this is a lot of words, but sometimes words don't always. My notes are full sentences as opposed to scratches here and there, so that might not translate to as much. But yeah, No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. Yeah, it's hard to explain this game, but it is like an auto-scrolling puzzle game where you're playing an anthropomorphic domino, and you have to lay dominoes down behind you, and then trigger certain like events in the environment to go off, and that's how you beat the level, is by triggering all these like set piece events. And that might be as
Like a
simple as
Rube
like
Goldberg sort of thing.
yeah, so that's also an interesting thing about the game, is you can just play it simply and like find the right tile to knock your domino down on top of, but you can also chain the entire level in one go if you're skilled enough. And there's all kinds of hazards, like there's tiles that speed or slow your character down, and you also, I think, you have to tap the button to lay down domino pieces. So if you hit one of those, then you have to adjust your tapping speed. That might mess up your chain. And then yeah, these events are like as simple as like the first level is Fat Tony's Casino. You might be like causing like a house of cards to fall or a billiard ball to shoot out. But when you get to the later levels, it gets real goofy. Like the third level is this house, like it's a traditional Japanese house, and you're kind of terrorizing this family in there. I think the level name is actually Grandpa's in the House, and then the final trigger event is like Grandpa, like he's meditating, but then like all of a sudden he turns into like the Incredible Hulk, and he's like
Hell yeah.
he just gets really beefy, and the camera's like zoomed in on his eyes, and that's it. That's, well, if that's your last trigger, that's just the end of the level. It's a really unique game. I've literally never played anything else like it. I mean, it makes sense. I don't think basically anyone played this game. I picked it up as a kid for like $5 at KB Toys.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, just because I thought the character of Mr. Domino on the cover looked cute. I also like the name No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. It also has 2 exclamation marks in the title, which that's awesome.
You know it's serious business, dude. Yeah.
Which is also good because contrary to that name, everything can stop Mr. Domino, and you touch slightly anything and he's just dead. Yeah, it's a really interesting game, and I wish more people played it. I have very fond memories of when I first picked it up. I brought it over to my friend's house for the weekend. I'm like, yo, dude, you gotta check this out. And he's like, okay, fire it up. And I think he was bored of it in like 5 minutes, whereas I just spent the entire weekend I'm like, hey, do you want to play that Mr. Domino game? Personally, it also really kind of influenced my taste in like, I don't know, maybe humor isn't the right word, but like sensibilities, in that I think it was like the first very, very Japanese sensibility kind of game I ever experienced. Like I was just getting into anime at the time, this being 1998 or 1999. So like I knew about Dragon Ball Z and I knew about Pokemon, but this has like a very overt Japanese sense of humor and silliness to it. And just like a playfulness in general to it. And yeah, this was the first one of those I ever experienced. To put it into perspective, like I would kind of compare it tonally to Katamari Damacy or like Mr. Mosquito. I don't know if anyone really knows what Mr. Mosquito is nowadays. But yeah, when it comes to the song, it's just super funky. I couldn't get over it. I hadn't heard the soundtrack in like decades. And then when we were compiling this list, I'm like, I think Mr. Domino had a really good soundtrack. Because it also took me weeks to get this list going. So I was exploring every corner of my video game music knowledge. And then yeah, I heard this. I'm like, yeah, this is exactly like what I want for this show. Not only is it cool and unique, but like most people will have never heard this, and it's like an introduction to something really cool and funky and sample heavy and weird from this weird little game. But sorry, I talked for a real long time. I know you've got plenty of notes.
Yeah, no, on this one, my first note, and I have bolded this, is just funky as hell.
Yeah.
Like, it is just so funky. My second note is, this is like upscale elevator meets East Coast hip hop. Because it's got like a little bit of that like smooth instrumentation that like I don't know, elevator music or casino music or whatever would have, kind of jazzy or whatever, but it's also got this kind of like, especially if you listen to it with like nice headphones, it's got this kind of crackly like effect in the background of it with like DJ scratches, and yeah, it kind of gives it this like, I don't know, grit or like grime or something that like it's not nearly as like clean anymore, that because if you remove that, this could have just been like a normal kind of like whatever smooth jazz elevator music thing, but because it has that layer of like grossness on it, for lack of a better term, like that layer of cigar smoke over it.
I was just about to say like smoke. It feels like like slimy kind of, but in a great way, in a fun way.
Yeah, like it feels like, I mean, it feels like you are in a casino that belongs to somebody named Phat Tony. But of course it is Phat Phat Tony. Right. So Phat Tony could also be sort of your friend who is like a rapper that owns this casino or something in like 1984, you know, or whatever. I don't know, like I like how it has that. I like how it has that grit, that chunkiness to it. I like the sort of, there's like a drop that happens a couple of times during the song where it kind of like goes quiet for a second and then picks back up, and like there's a little bit of like a warbly like kind of synthy thing going on in there. And yeah, I don't know, this one was like, I linked in our group chat recently the newest Louie Zong album, Rat Taxi. Did you listen to any of that when I sent it?
I have not yet, no.
Okay, you should listen to it because this is very Rat Taxi coded. Okay. You would love it. Like, knowing that you like this, you would love Rat Taxi. Like, and it's that again, you're kind of like streets of New York with, you know, a cheese pizza in your hand, smoking a cigar or something. Like, totally.
Yeah, no, I love Louie Zong's stuff in general, and yeah, I should get around to. You know what? When we get off this podcast, I'll probably fire that up.
You'll love it, dude. You'll love it.
Yeah, and real quick too, I really wanted to shout out specifically the sample of like the talking, like the chattering in the background.
Yeah.
For one, it really reminds me of Earthbound, like at the very beginning with the character select stuff. Man, I don't know, that's it's specifically that like crowd noise or whatever you want to call it, like that got me. Like when I was listening to this whole soundtrack, there were multiple songs on the Mr. Domino soundtrack that were up for consideration for being on this list. Specifically, I think that Grandpa's in the House and there's like a grocery store level that have real good music. But yeah, it's specifically that sample of like the chattering people that push this one over the top for me.
Man, it's so good. And yeah, I love how I feel like there was an era of video games where like, I don't know, like people talking samples were way more common. Like that sort of, I don't know, it makes things feel more tangible to me. Like it makes things feel like it's a lived in place. Like it has a little bit of like human texture to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And it, like I said, from a gameplay perspective, yeah, you're like this little domino man and you're like, you're influencing the world around you. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. Like that's the noise of the people in this casino that you don't really see them. But like, yeah, I think it's so cool for this little 1998 weird puzzle game. I don't even know if I'd describe it as a puzzle game, but it's perfect. Yeah, the weirdness, the griminess, yeah, it all fits in this real weird way. And you know, they should put Mr. Domino on like modern platforms. I think.
Yeah, they should. Dude, yes. Could you imagine like that? I feel like that type of game would be perfect on Switch. I don't know that will ever happen, but like, man, I would love to have that like on my Switch OLED handheld mode. Oh, yeah. Very good. Okay. Well, should I go into one of my picks?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. All right. Well, the first one that I'll shout out here, like you, I completely agonize over this list. Like, this was so hard to boil down like what represents you and your taste in video game music in like 3 songs. But when I think about, kind of similar to what you described with No One Can Stop Mr. Domino, there have been a few touchstones in my life that have kind of like video games that kind of really colored like my sensibilities, my personality, my taste. Like the especially in like formative years, like kind of what speaks to you, and what is the kind of like, I don't know, sensibility or lifestyle or aesthetic or something that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. And one of the earliest examples of this for me was WarioWare. On the original WarioWare on the Game Boy Advance, WarioWare Inc. Mega Microgames, and specifically the song Drifting Away that plays during the Dribble and Spits stage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Very good. Very good stuff. And I guess we'll play it. くて Yeah, so this one, like for me, it's that entire like the vibes. It's so funny that we're talking about like Rat Taxi and like New York and stuff, and like no one can send Fat Tony's Casino, because this is kind of similar. Like it has these kind of like driving at night in the rain, kind of thing, where the entire like setup of that stage, for those who somehow don't know what WarioWare is a collection of microgames, and in every sort of set of stages, you're essentially like having to take on these very fast, like 2 to 3 second little one button, usually microgames, in quick succession without losing any lives. Eventually get to a boss stage. Usually they will have some kind of narrative thread as you're playing through the story. And in Dribble and Spitz's stage, it is this duo of taxi drivers who pick up a person for their fare that night, and they ask them to drive them to the Diamond City docks where the game takes place. And the whole thing is just like, it's neon, it's raining, the windshield wipers are going. And I don't know about you, like when I was a kid, I loved going on like night drives. Like I loved going on like road trips where I'd be in the back of the car and like the orange glow of like the street lights would kind of come in from the car window, I just, something about that. And I've always loved driving at night in the rain in particular. Like there's something very cozy to me about that. And WarioWare in particular, like I remember playing this game a lot on road trips to our family reunion, going from Chicago, where I grew up, to our family reunion down in Kentucky. And so I had this moment that is like seared into my memory of going on that drive and playing the Dribble and Spits. Like it felt like it was an extension of what was happening in real life. Like I felt like I had a little bit of a portal in my hand to another place. And the song Drifting Away that plays is in Japanese. And it's basically singing about, like, if you look up the translation of the lyrics, it's basically a very literal translation of exactly what is happening. Like the lyrics are like, we're driving in your yellow taxi in the rain and you're taking me to the water with the waves or whatever. Because the way that story ultimately concludes is that the passenger turns out to be like a mermaid, and they like jump into the water and swim away into like the sunset. And I don't know, like it's not only is it the instrumentation of it, like the sort of kind of like bouncy, like bass note, but I specifically wanted to shout out like the full version of the song, because one thing that happens with WarioWare is after you do whatever, 5-10 levels or something, the music will change with the speed that is like kind of slowly ramping up, which is their way of instilling like difficulty into the game. But for Drifting Away, they do something different where Dribble and Spits, like Dribble will change the station, and it's the same song, but they play it with like a completely different like type of music. So it starts off as this kind of like upbeat, bassy sort of thing, and then it turns into a sort of like Latin inspired thing. Like, and it goes through all of these different cycles and like recontextualizes the same song in a bunch of different ways. And the last thing that I'll say about it, and this kind of speaks to what we were talking about with Fat Tony's Casino, there's something about not only is it vocalized, but it's passing through the Game Boy Advance like sound chip. So
right,
like it sounds like chunky, and it sounds like I don't know, like kind of like you almost can't make out what's being said. I remember it says like there's a sound sample in there where the woman singing says, "Let's go, let's drive." But when I was a kid, I thought she was saying, "That's smart." And I thought she was like complimenting my gameplay. I thought she was like, "That's smart." And like it was, I don't know, like there was just something about it that just felt like it was a little portal into another world, man. I love that song.
Yeah, so this is the one I have the least notes on, partially because I knew you would have a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
So for one, I replayed WarioWare, the original, for the first time in quite a while last year, because we covered it on Critical Diversions Games Club.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I didn't play this game originally when it came out. I didn't play it until it was a 3DS Ambassador game. That said, like, even playing it as an adult on my Switch in 2023, it was still moody as hell. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's really good. I would very much encourage anyone listening. We can't help you with this on our end, but like, go watch footage of this section of the game being played. Like, yeah, the windshield wipers in particular. Like, again, I didn't play this game as a kid, but I have like this wistful feeling imagining this music coming out of like my Game Boy Advance SP. Uh,
Totally.
and like, I don't know, that the windshield wipers, like the windshield in general, taking up like the whole screen, and then wiping the rain away. I don't know. It is one of the moodiest bits of pixel art I've ever seen. I don't know how else to describe it. And just in general, like, I get a lot of like wistful feelings hearing this song. It's funny, I never looked up the translation, so hearing you say that it is just talking about going for a drive in a yellow taxi, if anything, that, I don't want to say it takes anything away from it, but like, yeah, no, I'll pretend it's like a mermaid singing mermaid language in the future. That's fine.
Basically.
She's
Yeah.
singing about whatever. Yeah, it's so warbly coming out of the GBA speaker. It doesn't matter.
The first like line translated is roughly, your golden colored coupe looks like it has butter spread all over it.
Okay, I like that.
So
that's cool.
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good.
I guess just in general, real quick too, WarioWare has way more of like this mood to it. Like, the whole series, it's not just this, but I mean, yeah, if you were to ask me to pick like what is the moodiest WarioWare segment, yeah, it's definitely this. But basically, all y'all should play more WarioWare games.
I agree.
I'm also guilty of not playing all of them, but hey, they're very good. Do we want to move on to the next song, or did you have anything else you wanted to add? Okay.
No, I think we covered it. I talked long enough about it. It's just really good, y'all. Y'all should play WarioWare. That first one, I'll just say, still my favorite in the whole series. Like, I love the whole. It's one of my favorite Nintendo series, but that first one is special. And it, by the way, has not aged a day. Like, you can play it on GBA NSO and have a phenomenal time still.
Yeah, when I played it last year, or replayed it last year, it was still awesome. And yeah, I always liked the game, but yeah, it rose my WarioWare rankings. It's probably like my second favorite at this point, I would say, of the whole series. It's fantastic. Let's get into the next one of my picks then. So I've never actually played this game, so this might be a little bit of a weird one, but we got Hanging Waters from Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, and we are going to play that for you right now. Yeah, so like I said, I've never actually played this game. I have read a lot about this game over the years, but I've never actually even watched footage for whatever reason. I have limitless information at my fingertips, and I've never watched for some reason, never watched footage of Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. I hear it compared a lot to like Mario Galaxy in some ways.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think they mean quality wise, but in terms of, well, let me ask you first. How familiar are you with like Echo the Dolphin in general?
I played the first one. I remember
Mhm.
playing the first one when it came out, but I've never like. Is this the sequel? Is this the second one?
I think there was a second one also on Genesis. So
Okay.
this is maybe like the third or the fourth one, but
Wow.
I couldn't really tell you either. Did you make it far enough into, or maybe you just have accrued this knowledge over the years, but did you play enough of the original Echo of the Dolphin to find out that like there's aliens and stuff going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. It was really funny when they announced the Sega Genesis NSO thing.
Mhm.
I was watching that Nintendo Direct, and my wife somehow knew instantly what it was. Like, she every now and then she'll have just this sense memory from her childhood, and she hears the music and she just goes, Echo, like from like across the room, and I'm like, you know what Echo the Dolphin is? And so yeah, there's something about it. I don't know. Yeah, it's so like fuzzy in my memory. I don't know if I assume that I didn't like get to that place when I played the game as a kid, but I definitely have like seen enough of the game, or by osmosis absorbed enough to know that yes, eventually you're like in like a UFO or something.
Yeah, there's this scene. I've never played enough of the original Echo to make it to the aliens either. Frankly, I don't think the game's that good. I think it's a cool
No.
game, but yeah, there's like this scene that I've seen it on YouTube or something of like a literal like alien eldritch space monster like coming out of the water or like in an underwater cave or something. It's horrifying. I'm glad I didn't make it that far into the game when I was a kid. But yeah, so I think when people compare this Defender of the Future game to Mario Galaxy, I think it's because like you're going to different planets.
Mm,
I think the music or the stage that this music you just heard played on, I think it has like floating water spheres that you're like jumping between to traverse around. So
okay.
I think that's where the Mario Galaxy comparisons specifically come from. I don't think this is some kind of super secret lost gem on the Dreamcast and PS2 beyond the music. Uh, we do have to shout out specifically. This game is composed by Tim Follin, which
Yeah.
yeah, if you don't know Tim Follin, listeners, he composed a lot of specifically 8 and 16-bit soundtracks for mostly not very good video games like Silver Surfer on the NES. It's horrible. Don't play it, but listen to the soundtrack, please. I think probably what he's most well known for Plock at this point, I
Yep.
would say. Um, Plock. Also, I'll be controversial. I don't think it's a very good game, but the soundtrack is insane. Um, this dude will like make 16-minute prog rock odysseys blare out of your Super Nintendo
It's
in this
crazy.
in this kid's platformer for no reason other than that he felt like it. Um Truly like besides like yeah, like Yasunori Mitsuda or Nobuo Uematsu, like maybe the moodiest like 16-bit and 8-bit music I've ever heard ever. It's frankly obscene. I don't know what I can't imagine like being a parent back in the 90s and like renting your kid Silver Surfer, or even, he did Pictionary. He did an NES Pictionary soundtrack and it's insane. It's Pictionary, but it's still prog rock Pictionary. I don't understand. Um but yeah, anyway, I've never played this Defender of the Future game, but my connection to the song, besides the fact that it's a really good Tim Follin song that I've never really heard other people talk about, um, I think I found this like 15 years ago in a thread on NeoGAF. Remember NeoGAF before it was like a neo-Nazi website? Um,
Yeah.
there was like a thread about like underrated video game music, and this is one of the posts that I saw, and I was like, good lord, like what is this? And this is actually like one of the first songs saved on my video game music playlist that I started like 15, 16 years ago on YouTube. So that's my kind of connection to this game and the soundtrack, beyond it just being real good. Like this is kind of like the start of me seeking out more obscure video game music. I didn't want to just listen to Final Fantasy and Zelda and stuff. Like, yeah, those are all great, but like give me this stuff that no one's ever heard of before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my notes on this one, my first note is, yo, this is Tim Follin.
Yeah.
That's my first note here on this one. Because, yeah, like, I know him from Plock is the biggest sort of point of reference for me. And, yeah, like, the I think a lot of his music is maybe a little more definable a lot of the time, is this kind of like prog rock sort of thing, or very like heavy instrumentation, or maybe like more melodic than atmospheric, I would say, with a lot of his stuff. I look at this and I'm like, this is way more like full and atmospheric and layered, way more like, I mean, we mentioned Donkey Kong Country. This has a little bit of Donkey Kong Country flavor to it. I love that, like, something, my favorite thing whenever you're composing like a sort of like water-based track or something, and I think Echo in the first one too does this really well, that kind of like shimmery, ethereal, like underwater feel. I don't really know how that's achieved, but there's just something intangible about that. Like, it feels like you're underwater.
Yeah.
But it still has like this amazing like bass line underneath the whole thing that just goes crazy. Like the bass line sounds like, you know, it sounds like 88 Fingers Louie or something. It sounds like a punk rock like bass line going underneath this whole thing. But it's also got these like almost non-stop like drums going the whole time. So it's very like driving. It's very like, you know, it makes sense that this one's called Defender of the Future. Like, I want to defend the future listening to this. You know? Yeah, it's really good. I don't know that I've ever listened to this game's soundtrack until now, or even really knew that it existed as a very, my knowledge of Echo the Dolphin is very lacking, but damn, like, it kind of blew me away a little bit.
Yeah, I've got multiple songs off this soundtrack saved onto my video game music playlist. I'll go in, I'll find them, I'll send them to you privately outside of the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's killer. Yeah, at the time I had no idea that Tim Follin was also capable of making something like this. I mean, yeah, his prog rock stuff is amazing too. So to hear this more atmospheric and just kind of like, I don't want to quite say sad, but like melancholic, but still kind of hopeful vibe going on. Yeah, it's killer. This is one of my favorite video game songs of all time. It's just stuck with me all these years. Do we want to get into your next one?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's get into it. This one, you know, I love rhythm games. I love you know, surprise, surprise, talk about video game music. Like, I love rhythm games too. And one of, if not my favorite rhythm games of all time is a kind of I don't know how obscure, underrated it is, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. It's Gitaru Man. One of my favorite games of all time. This game means a lot to me, and the song we're going to shout out here is the Legendary theme, specifically the reprise of the Legendary theme that plays near the end of the game. So let's take a listen. So this game's soundtrack is very weird and interesting, and obviously has got a lot of like hard rock influence. It's about like electric guitars after all, and like alien planets and stuff. But this game for me, I remember when my dad, my stepdad got our PS2. He had bought it from a friend of his. He was in the army at the time, and he had bought it from a friend of his who was PCSing and permanent change of station, moving basically. And it came with, I think he gave him like Gran Turismo, Grand Theft Auto 3, the first Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy X. Like he got the PS2, I think 2 controllers and like a smattering of games, but he also got a small stack of official PlayStation magazines with the demo discs included. And there were a ton of like, you know, I would just play those demo discs like all the time. And one of them had a demo for Guitar Man on it. And that was how I was introduced to it. And the demo really just lets you play like the first like real kind of encounter. There's a little encounter that plays like the tutorial of the game, but the first real encounter of the game is essentially what the demo lets you play. And I remember after playing that, I wanted to instantly go and like buy the game. And at that point, it was already out and you could get it for, you know, whatever, relatively cheap at GameStop used. So I got it. And that game, man, I just like, not only does it have that kind of like weird, almost grungy like art style to it, it almost looks a little like Japanese, like anime meets South Park art style a little bit. But it tells this really kind of like life-affirming story that spoke to me as a teenager, like when I'm playing this game, about this kid, the protagonist U1, who is, it's a kind of coming-of-age story, but it's mostly about finding like your self-confidence. It's about like knowing that there is a legend inside of you waiting to be born. You just need to unlock it. I'm a total sucker for that junk. Like a total sucker for that junk. And it takes it to a cosmic scale because the game wastes no time giving you this like, you know, interdimensional guitar from another, you know, universe where, hey, by the way, this is the last Gitaru and you can use it to transform into this amazing legendary Gitaru man, you know, and like save the planet and go to this other place, and like the girl that you love is gonna love you back if you're cool enough, you know, sort of thing. And he goes, like, throughout the course of the game, you go to this other planet Gitaru, and you meet this girl, Kira, who looks a lot like your crush back on Earth, but she's like a different person. And U1 kind of uses it as like a blank slate to impress her or like give himself confidence because this is a different person. And he busts out his acoustic guitar and plays this song. And that moment really struck me when it first happened. And when you get to the end of the game, sorry that I'm like spoiling Guitar Man, I guess. Game's like 25 years old or something. It turns out that Kira, this girl who looks a lot like your Pico, I think her name is, your crush back on Earth, she's actually been bred for battle on like from birth by like your arch nemesis. So you enter into this arena and your opponent is this girl that looks just like the girl that you love and you've been trying to impress her, and you refuse to fight her. One of the cool things about Gitaru Man is it's kind of like a rhythm RPG. Like it doesn't have like stats or anything, but like you're kind of like, you have guard phases and attack phases and healing phases as you're playing music and doing the rhythm gameplay. And U1 refuses to fight Kira. And he's like, I can't do it. Like, I won't fight you. So the song, you know, the whole passage starts and he's just defending against Kira's attacks, basically. And eventually he's like, what if I play the song that I played when we first met? And he starts playing what you guys just heard, the legendary theme again. And I have goosebumps even just talking about it. Like
I'm getting goosebumps just hearing you describe this. I've never even played this game.
Dude, it's amazing. Like, it's this amazing moment of payoff where he's like, think about who you are as a person and find your own self-confidence within you. You're more than your station. You're more than what you were born to be. And that's also what U1 has learned about himself throughout the course of the game. And so there's a moment, I'm getting like teary-eyed talking about this. Good God. There's a moment where they like harmonize in the song with both of their guitars, these two legendary warriors choosing to not fight each other, but to harmonize against this greater threat. And that's peak video games to me, dude. It's so good. And the song itself is amazing. The melody is amazing, all that stuff. But like just what it means, good God.
So, yeah, like I said, for one, I'm glad we're already crying on the first episode of the show. This has always been a game I wanted to play. I remember reading reviews for it back in EGM, like 4 years ago. Never got around to it. Just was one of those things. I knew it was like story oriented, like it's a story oriented rhythm game, but I didn't realize it was like that story oriented. I didn't know, like if it was just giving you like these scenes or whatever, like Parappa scenes where it's more goofy or silly. But no, that all sounds awesome. Real quick, I have to mention, so you linked, I don't know if it was me specifically or like in the Discord like a year or two ago, this song. And yeah, I liked it a lot back then too. Added it to my video game music playlist, which is also what I play. Like if my wife and I are playing Salmon Run in Splatoon 3, I'll just turn on like our Bluetooth speaker and just like play music from like some of our playlists. And this song came on one of those times. She's like, "Is this a Pillows song?" She's a huge fan of the Pillows. I was like, "No, this is from a video game from like 25 years ago that no one played." And she's like, "Oh, it sounds like a Pillows song. This is awesome. Keep this on." And it got to the point where when you were sending me your songs and I was getting them downloaded and then I was checking the downloads a little bit to make sure they all worked. I started playing this the other day, and then my wife instantly over on the couch started humming it. And then when I turned it off to go to the next song, she's like, "Why'd you stop playing that? You know I like that song." Yeah, so for one, this also made me realize when I was listening to this, I don't know how to describe this. All of your songs that you picked for this, they kind of, they're all from like the same time period. And that they all kind of evoke similar feelings in me, kind of. I mean, obviously, we'll save your last song for a bit, but like, I don't know. It was interesting noticing that specifically with this song. I'm like, oh yeah, this is like the most 2003-ass like Japanese song I've ever heard in my life.
Completely, yeah.
It feels like the end credits of like the coolest anime you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I'll also add that there's an acoustic version of this that is also really good. Sorry,
That's that first one.
I'm gonna bleep myself out for that, but
you can if you want to. Yeah, I mean, go for it. I mean, look, we're passionate. I mean, things are gonna happen.
And then specifically on notes on this song, beyond all that, at like 140 or so, when they start doing the guitar, the wah wah. That gets me real good.
Yeah.
Real good.
Yeah. That first version, the acoustic version, like we played that at our wedding. Like my wife and I danced to that at our wedding, and it has this kind of like, it's interesting because it winds up bringing in that kind of warbly, like almost alien, like theremin sounding like thing underneath it, like whistly sort of thing. It's excellent. And it's one of those, I never really like notated that, but looking at my 3 songs, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely like me finding myself as a teenager coming of age in the mid 2000s. Like totally.
This is like you went to go see Matrix Reloaded in the theater, and then you came home and you played Guitar Man, and you really thought about things for a while.
Like my dad and I like stopped at Pizza Hut, and I'm like eating some stuffed crust after watching The Matrix. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Very good. Do we want to do my last song of these songs? Okay.
Yeah.
For my last one, I have Rising Up from Streets of Rage 4. That's composed by, I'm going to butcher this. It's a French name. I believe the French only pronounce like 3 different letters in their language. So I believe it's Olivier Derivier, something like that. But yeah, we're gonna play that for you right now. So I talked in the beginning about how Streets of Rage 2 on the Genesis was a huge influence on my music taste. I said Yuzo Koshiro is probably my favorite composer. Like, again, gun to my head, if you asked me to pick like overall best or overall favorite video game soundtrack of mine, it's probably Streets of Rage 2. So that's all to say that like Streets of Rage 4, when this came out a few years ago, had like a lot to live up to. And if I'm being honest, I went into this game with extremely low expectations. I wasn't a fan of like the art style even. Like it animates really well and I could respect the quality of it, but I wasn't excited about it. I was like, I don't know, comic booky look, I don't know about this. And then hearing that like Yuzo Koshiro only was on like one or two of the songs, like can you really have Streets of Rage? Can you really call this Streets of Rage 4 without like a full Yuzo Koshiro soundtrack behind it? That was dumb. That was dumb of me to think that. Lesson to be learned, I think, in general, is that like, hey, nothing is so precious that other people can't come in and like contribute to a thing that you like. Because again, I still think Streets of Rage 2 overall is like one of the best soundtracks of all time. But if you ask me, hey, what's the best Streets of Rage song across the whole series? It is definitely Rising Up. It's not even a question. Olivier or Oliver absolutely killed it. Like I said, they brought Yuzo Koshiro back to do a couple songs on the soundtrack, and I think there's a whole bunch of guest composers on the soundtrack, including I think Yoko Shimomura contributed a song on the
Yeah.
soundtrack. So like legendary Japanese composers, but I'm telling you that the songs by Olivier, they're the best songs on the album, like straight up. It's not even close. And again, I like the songs by Yuzo Koshiro and stuff, but he absolutely killed it. I remember also specifically when Streets of Rage 4 came out, I remember watching the Giant Bomb quick look on it, and Jeff Gerstmann is a super entertaining dude. I really enjoy and value hearing his takes on some things, but he's also a big old stick in the mud when it comes to like, hey, we're gonna touch an old series that you grew up with or whatever.
Mm.
And I remember watching that quick look, and he was just like, yeah, nothing about this feels like Streets of Rage, like the music, the gameplay, whatever. Whereas like to me, yes, this Streets of Rage 4 sounds different than Streets of Rage 2 and 3 and 1 and whatever, but that's on purpose. Like Streets of Rage 2 modern music was like club music that was blowing up at the time. It was super big in Japan. That's its main inspiration. It makes sense that like, yeah, in 2020 there were some dubstep influences on this soundtrack and whatever. Everything sounds kind of more, I don't want to say grungier, because for one, grunge means something different in music terms, I guess, but just it all sounds like a little bit more dirty, I guess, than how clean
Right.
Streets of Rage 2 felt. But that's the entire point. Like this is taking place, not only is the game made like 30 years later, it's also taking place like 20 years later, or however it is. Um, I can't think of a better modern take on Streets of Rage than what we got, both from a gameplay perspective and a soundtrack perspective. Um, I guess real quick before I hand it over to you, I do want to say, first of all, when the song starts transitioning at 2 minutes 47 seconds, I get chills every time. I listened
Oh
to
yeah.
this back to back this week while getting ready to record this. Every single time I got chills at that transition. A big important part of the Streets of Rage 4 soundtrack is the songs transitioning as you transition the stage. And that doesn't come through when you're just listening on YouTube. It's just a natural progression. Whereas yeah, in Streets of Rage 4, as you're playing, the songs get like more full as you go, and they even straight up change, or they'll take parts out as you go. I can't imagine how much work, as someone that doesn't know how to write music, how much work must go into making that work from a video game standpoint, where everything has to be loopable without being noticeable, but also that you can transition to other parts of the song easily. It is like a masterpiece on that level. And then I also just want to shout out that every Streets of Rage game and most beat 'em ups in general, they have near the end a climactic fight on the elevator, and that is like the last chunk of the song. Is you get into a big glass elevator, and like a bunch of like the strongest enemies in the game just drop down on you, and the song is going, and the beats are going, and you're tossing dudes out of like broken elevator windows. It is one of like the most memorable video game experiences of all time to me. I this is like the perfect example of like the music elevating the game and the game elevating the music to me, all coming in just one section of a song. It is a masterpiece, and I can't praise it enough.
It's really good, dude. I regrettably, so when I played Streets of Rage 4 for the first time, I really enjoyed it. I remember we were not at home. We had evacuated from a hurricane, because I think that came out in like an August, September kind of time frame. And we'd evacuated from a hurricane. We were staying with some friends in Texas. And I played that game in co-op with Eric, my friend and co-host from All on Nintendo podcast. And so I felt like I wasn't really absorbing the music fully because we were in voice, you know? And I felt like I wasn't really like allowing myself to connect to it fully. But I've played it a couple of times since and got to kind of appreciate, I think, more what it was going for musically. And yeah, this is a standout song, and it makes perfect sense why you like it so much, because my first note here is Castlevania coded.
Yeah.
Like, especially when the song opens, it's kind of wild we haven't actually mentioned Castlevania. Matt's a massive Castlevania fan, for those who don't know. And the song opens with this very like heavily arpeggiated, like Castlevania by way of Tetris effect, like sort of vibe. It's also got this, another note that I have here has an 80s synth flavor without being cringy.
Yes.
And like what I mean by that is I feel like there's a sort of cringy approach to 80s synth music. This sort of like I hate like Kung Fury, you know, like I hate that crap.
Yeah.
Like,
I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like just leaning too far into it, like that sort of Far Cry Blood Dragon ass, like just let's like harp on nostalgia. Like I get it, it's fun, whatever, but like there's for me a fine line between being nostalgic and, you know, like just towing into that kind of cringy line. This song does not do that. It's very like layered, and yeah, like it was so funny because I'd never really like considered the club influence of Streets of Rage music, but I literally have a note here that says goes like industrial club in here, and it totally does. And I do have a note about that tonal shift you're talking about. It's, you know, tonal shift around the 250 mark that makes it get like, I don't know, hopeful. Like kind of like
you're rising up. Yeah.
You're rising up, like you're overcoming the odds. Like I want to go practice karate right now. You know, like that sort of thing. Like it's a motivating, like, you know, I don't like go to the gym or whatever, but if I did, like this would be on my gym like workout playlist, you know, like it just has that motivating, driving vibe. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I haven't been to the gym in a few years. I listen to podcasts at the gym. I don't know. I've never been a big music at the gym person for whatever reason. I just like hearing conversation, I guess. I can tell you what I most remember, or when I most remember listening to the song was right after the game came out, and I thought the soundtrack was so good. And I blasted it in my car on the way to Dairy Queen to get a Sour Patch Blizzard.
Oh, hell yeah.
So it's basically the same thing as going to the gym. It's as much
basically
work.
The same.
You're about to be in for it. You have to rise up to pick up your Sour Patch Kids Blizzard. Yeah, on a last note, so yeah, I guess two last notes. Yeah, I agonized over not having Castlevania on this list for a real long time. I think the problem was there was like 4 Castlevania songs that I wanted, so I'm just like, you know what, I'm just kicking all of them out. We'll do a Castlevania thing at some point anyway. So
totally.
But yeah, I totally get what you mean. I think that comes in from like the cinematic quality of this game and Castlevania of like, I love in games, especially like 2D games, where you like there are stages, but like you see the transitions happening. So like
Mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly, the stage before this, like you're coming up to the building, like you're coming into Y Tower. I think you literally destroy a wall to come in, and then you're in this bathhouse. Like you're in like it's like a Russian mafia bathhouse at the start, and then you have to get to the elevator and then get to the top. I don't know. There's something so cinematic and cool about that, and that, again, that's what I love about the old Castlevania games is like seeing the castle get closer as you get further and further into the game. But yeah, on your note about like 80s synth send ups being too cringy, it's kind of like my philosophy on life in general is that like when you're not being sincere, like it's noticeable. Maybe not to everyone,
Totally.
but like to me it's noticeable. If you're not giving me sincere, I'm just like, okay, yeah, you're just doing this because like you think it's what like people want to hear or whatever. And you know, some people do want to hear that. And look, I can't begrudge anyone that is able to make money off of any kind of making art. Hey, more power to you. But yeah, I'm not going to listen to that kind of stuff personally.
Exactly right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a sincerity that I think is lacking in other places. But yeah,
Totally.
that was. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it like that's I'd never like articulated why I find that stuff cringy. That's exactly what it is. You're dead on. Like it feels like almost predatory. Like, hey, you like 80s synth, right? You like this, you know, crazy neon soaked, you know, yeah, you're dead on.
Do we want to transition then into your last song?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. So this was one that I agonized over too. I almost didn't include it because like there's something about like I feel like I talk about this game so much that like I almost feel like I'm beating a dead horse or something, but at the end of the day I couldn't like leave it off my list. There is no like singular piece of art that I think has impacted or shaped or molded like it's kind of like what we've been talking about, like my sensibilities, my personality, who I am, more than Jet Set Radio Future, which is a game that came out on the original Xbox in 2002, and depending on the day you ask me, might be my favorite game of all time. I kind of flip-flop between that and Majora's Mask, but Jet Set Radio Future is a very, very, very special game to me. And the song that I want to shout out, and again, once I said, okay, like, screw it, we're going to shout out Jet Set Radio Future, now it's like, what song do I want? Because that game's soundtrack is just wall-to-wall excellent. Mm-hmm. So I agonized over it, but the song that I landed on is Fly Like a Butterfly, and we're going to take a listen to it right now.
Fly like a butterfly. Fly like a butterfly. Fly like a butterfly. Fly like a butterfly.
That's nice. Wild and wonderful.
Felt like a fly, like a butterfly.
So this one, the reason I landed on Fly Like a Butterfly specifically, the soundtrack of Jet Set Radio Future's got a lot of like, it's a very sort of like, Hideki Naganuma is like the primary composer of it, and he's very, he's known for these sort of like sample heavy, kind of like remixes and stuff, and kind of DJ, sort of vibes or whatever. But this one, for me, has like lyrics that really stand out. Like this one has like moments in it that kind of like spoke to me, like reached out of the digital space and spoke to me like as a person, weirdly. That game in general, just like the colors of it, the sort of like flow of the gameplay, because the game is so like easy to play, like it just feels like butter to play that game. It allows you kind of space for like absorbing everything else, including the music. The stylized graphics of it, the characters, the story of like rebellion and rising up against oppression, and making sure your voice is heard. It could not have been, I'm like whatever 15 or something when that game came out. Could not have been a more perfect game for me to play exactly when I played it. Completely spoke to me and gave me a sense of like, yeah, a place, and feeling like, oh, like this is kind of who I am, and this is kind of how it kind of informed like my worldview, I guess, just in general, which is a very Japanese concept, the worldview concept. You hear like Japanese composers and game developers talk about their worldview and the way that they put it into games. Like Jet Set Radio Future's got a very cool worldview, and this one, this song Fly Like a Butterfly, it plays very early. It's primarily something that this game does a lot, is it will kind of like, there are certain songs that only play in certain sections of the game, and then there are songs that are like prioritized in other sections of the game, so it allows you to create a kind of like musical or oral identity almost to certain areas. So like when I'm thinking of the sewers in Jet Set Radio Future, I'm thinking of like the Scrappy song that plays, or whatever. When I'm thinking of the 99th Street, I'm thinking of Statement of Intent. And for this one, the first like real place you go is called Dogenzaka Hill, and this plays like right away. Fly Like a Butterfly. It's almost like your first brush, and so it kind of hits you like a freight train. It's like, oh man, like this like attitude and vibe is so unlike anything that I've ever encountered before. And I resonated with it straight away. And there's a line in the song, again, there's a lot of like a lot of it is like repeated DJ remixy, Fly Like a Butterfly over and over again. But there's a break kind of going into the song's like breakdown and sort of third act or whatever of it, where it stops and it plays a sample that says, "I felt like a bulldozer trying to catch a butterfly."
I felt like a bulldozer
Wild and
trying to catch a butterfly.
wild and wonderful monster.
And that is such a good line.
Yeah.
Like I love that damn line so much. And it is kind of like what I felt like as a kid, like as a kind of angry, like angsty teen, trying to hone in on what my sense of like living and life and purpose and place was. I did feel like a bulldozer trying to catch a butterfly, Like I felt like I was trying to hone in on myself. I felt like I was trying to refine myself and figure out who I was as a person. And that line, "I felt like a bulldozer trying to catch a butterfly," sums up that feeling better than almost anything else I could say. And again, I could have shouted out a million songs from this soundtrack, but what sums up the Jet Set Radio Future experience as it relates to my life, Fly Like a Butterfly is it.
Yeah. So again, I'm mostly unfamiliar with both Jet Set Radio Future soundtrack and Hideki Naganuma at large. I think the first soundtrack of his I ever heard was Sonic Rush on the DS. And yeah, that soundtrack is awesome. And yeah, that opened my, I don't know, my eyes to, I was like, oh, like people make music like this for video games. Okay, that's super cool. And find out that that's basically his entire style. Like every song of his sounds like that, kind of. Not that there isn't. That's a painting with broad strokes, but like,
Right.
is there a term for what he does? It's like hyperactive, like overwhelming sampling.
There's a new there's a term called like New Jack Swing or something like that that's been kind of making the rounds. That is sort of like that, but yeah, it's this kind of like this like funk electronic DJ sort of thing with like, yeah, he just pulls like the craziest samples.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know. I don't understand how somebody's brain works that way. You know, like that to me is such a like that is like an astral plane of ascension to be able to hear a sample and work it into a song like that.
Right. Like I can't imagine what goes into that, let alone coming up with entire soundtracks that are nothing but that. That sounds like beyond intimidating. The idea of like writing a whole video game soundtrack sounds crazy to me, let alone, I don't know, it feels like so much energy has to go into his music, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just because of how much energy is coming out of his music that it makes me feel like that. Yeah, out of all these songs, all 6 songs that we've picked out, if you're gonna listen to like one with headphones, I personally would recommend this. It is like transcendental hearing like the best songs of his with like a decent. I don't even have a decent pair of headphones right now, but like even a subpar pair of headphones, just so you could hear more of what's going on. It is so layered. I can't even begin to describe it. It's also like, and maybe it wasn't cheesy back in 2003 or 2002. To me, it's like the perfect amount of cheese in 2024.
Right.
But it's still like, I don't say that to be like to talk down on it. Like for one, who doesn't love cheese? But like, it makes me like it is a motivating kind of cheese, I guess. I don't know where I'm going with this metaphor anymore, but like this song gets me like, okay, if you haven't been able to tell, I'm not like too hyper of a person. I'm a pretty, some might say, sleepy kind of guy. Despite picking Rising Up as one of my songs here, but like this song gets me jacked. Like I want to like do something when I hear this song.
I want to take back the streets. I want to spray some graffiti. Yeah.
I think I knew, well, I shouldn't say I knew, but I was very confident that you would pick a Hideki Naganuma song for this. And I'm very glad you did, because again, I'd never heard this one, or if I did, it was so long ago that I don't remember it. But this is the kind of stuff, I mean, all 6 of our songs are exactly what I want to hear out of this going forward, but like, yeah, like this is exactly the kind of stuff I want to be playing on this show. It's so good. So good.
Yeah, man. Good video games and good music. I like it.
Very good. Do we then want to transition over to a little tiny little segment that we've got cooked up?
Oh, I can't wait. I love this so much. I cannot wait. Yes.
I've tentatively named this the YouTube comment oversharing corner. So this is the section of the show where we have kind of copied and pasted into our notes any funny or interesting or just downright insane comments that we found while looking up music to put into this episode of the show. I don't want this to come across as like too mean-spirited or glib. Like there's a little bit of that here, but I genuinely enjoy reading this kind of stuff.
Same.
There is yeah, if you go into like any popular songs YouTube channel or page, there's always someone talking about like a dead grandma or something, and like, come on, we don't need that on every song, but there is like this level of humanity here that I think is just so fascinating. I know both Seth and I are super big fans of like, I don't know, unique or weird interactions on the internet and stuff between people. And really, what is more human than wondering aloud in the comments section of a Mario Paint song about how the girl you dated in middle school is doing?
Yeah, totally.
I will start. I have 2 this episode. So for Hanging Waters, YouTube commenter Kairu Station said 2 years ago, when I listened to this song, I got such a mystical feeling. Like if the whole humanity finally realized the value of life and decided to unite together towards its destiny. I cannot prevent myself to cry when thinking about this utopia. What a wonderful tune.
Hell yeah, dude.
And again, I'm laughing at this a little bit, but overall, I think the sentiment is beautiful.
I feel you. Yes.
The world is a horrible place, and yeah, I feel like if we could all just be a dolphin swimming in water bubbles in outer space, that would be great. We'd have.
I too cannot prevent myself to cry when thinking about that utopia. Yeah.
Do you want to go with one of yours?
Sure, yeah. I wound up with 3, and I'll read one of the comments, one of the longer comments I have here about Fly Like a Butterfly. This comes from YouTube commenter Rainbow the Hedgehog, who said 4 years ago, listening to the soundtrack right now because I remember liking the game so much. I recently posted on my Instagram story about how much I used to love the game, and next thing you know, my boyfriend responded to it so rapidly to say, and this is in all caps, he played the game when he was younger, with 3 exclamation marks. I was honestly smiling like an idiot because I didn't think he was the type to play this game since he's the more serious type. Man, we had such a huge conversation about the game afterwards, and I felt so happy. Like, silly and cringy, but like genuine also. Like, I love that they connected over this. Yeah. And like that it was a surprise to her that like he enjoyed it too, and that she found this new like kind of layer of depth to her boyfriend. I love that.
Yeah, no, I again, I'm laughing at it, but there is like a sweetness here that's interesting. Also, to me, as a 34-year-old man, it's a very strange concept, the idea of like finding something out like this about your boyfriend or girlfriend through an Instagram post. That's very interesting to me. I quite enjoyed that one. This one for Fat Tony's Casino, this is very short, but I laughed extremely hard at this. YouTube commenter Wet Bandit YGO said 2 years ago, this sounds like some walking down the street music. And yeah, that it does sound like some walking down the street, a really cool street. But yeah, you got it right. You got it right, Wet Bandit. Yeah, it turns out Mr. Domino is just all about walking.
Dude, you crush it. It is about walking. No one can stop you. You're walking down the street with some walking around money. You know, that's what that's about. Oh, man. Very good. Yeah, I've got a couple more to shout out here. I'll shout out one from the Legendary Theme YouTube commenter, that Aaron Murphy dude 27, said 12 years ago.
I also love like older, double-digit years ago YouTube comments.
Same. 12 years ago is so rad, dude. When I get older, someone should make a biography of my life and put this song in a sex scene. I just hope that happened. This is 12 years has elapsed since this comment was made, and in the ensuing 12 years, I hope that somebody eventually did do that. That Aaron Murphy dude.
What's nice too is that theoretically, if we ever find a comment that we really want to like get in touch with the people, hey, there's a good chance we can easily do that as long as they've still.
That's true.
They're still on their YouTube account. I would love to get that Aaron Murphy on the horn and see what he's been up to in the past 12 years.
I just want to find out. I just want to see what's been going on. Did you ever get the biography made, or did somebody ever make it about you in your life? I also love, like, there's something about, like, and this kind of plays into what I was saying earlier, like, I've thought about my own funeral and stuff. Like, I love knowing that other people think about their life in that context. Like, someone should probably make a biography about my life and put this song in a sex scene. It just that is such a dense sentence.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, dense is a word for it. Yeah.
Okay, well, the last comment that I have here. This is also from Fly Like a Butterfly, YouTube commenter Smack and Cheese 9285, which is a great YouTube username. Said 3 years ago, maybe the reason the flies fly so sporadically is because they have tiny headphones and are jamming out to this groovin' soundtrack. Maybe their heads look so weird because they're actually small little humans with aviation goggles. And again, I really, I love, like, Matt and I are both like very big, like sort of Miiverse fans, like genuine expressions of thought on the internet, even if they are as silly as flies with headphones on and aviation goggles. I love that this person heard this song and thought that it was about a fly, like the insect fly, flying like a butterfly. That is not what enters into my head when I think the song, but
Right.
I can see it. I can get why that's what he thought. And I love that it gave him that visual.
Yeah. A fly with aviation goggles is honestly kind of cool.
Totally. Yeah, I would play that. Like they could make and fly like a butterfly. I mean, maybe maybe that's exactly what Hideki Naganuma had in his mind when composing that song. Who knows? Who am I to say?
I know Hideki Naganuma thinks a lot about Peter Griffin, so yeah, there's a very real chance that that's what he was thinking of.
I love it.
That has been this week's, what would I name this again? YouTube comment oversharing corner. Or not this week's. Let me just retake that. This has been this episode's YouTube comment oversharing corner, and I have to say that this is now the segment I'm most looking forward to every episode.
Same, dude. I love it so much. I love just the way that people act on the internet. Sometimes YouTube comments are horrible.
Yes, often.
But it is often horrible. But I do love, like, whenever I'm listening to a song or really any YouTube anything, like, I go straight to the comments.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I just, especially with music, because there's not, like, a visual element. Like, I just love to, like, see, it is like a little micro community or something. Like, it's like a forum thread. It's like an active forum thread or something. Yeah.
With that, do we want to do the outro? And do you want to do the outro since you're more familiar with, for one, we got Patreon shoutouts, which you have access to that,
right,
that I don't.
Yeah, let's do it. So, first of all, we've got a few things to talk about here in terms of kind of the future. Obviously, this is like the pilot, the episode 0, or whatever. We are recording this kind of in advance, so if there are new patrons who have signed up in the ensuing weeks between us recording this and this going live, I apologize, but we do want to thank our patrons here. Of course, Bit Harmony is, of course, made possible by viewers like you. Thank you. So let's thank our patrons here, starting with our Golden Banana patrons: Rob Yapel, Sean O'Baggins, Ashton, Tim A, aka Neoprime33, aka Nintendo Dad number 4, Phelan Ward, Bill Tucker, Marcus O'Neill, Liam D, Gamer Jason, Andrew Wilkins, Foolish Fuji, Alan, #Look to the Cookies, Solo, and SAZ. Big thank you to our Golden Banana tier supporters and our Triforce tier supporters. Thank you to Josh Vaughn, the godfather of Tingle Love Tuesday, of course, John Datfast Cummins of the Retrologic podcast, as well as the On Topic Retro podcast, the Globetrotting Jet Setting Nintendo Hub and Sparky of the Nintendo Hub on YouTube, Adam Caparello from the Retro Groove podcast, Shy Guy, the other half of our Shy Guy mod squad. Thank you, Shy Guy. Danielina Hosa, Dan and Luma, Bowser the Keeper of the Hugs, and of course, the legendary Uncle Randy Bryans. Big thank you to our patrons. Couldn't be possible without you. We also had an idea of getting some community engagement with this show. So for one thing, y'all should join the Discord, the All-In Discord. We're going to have a place for y'all to sound off on show topics. You can join the community. You can kind of make your voice be heard. We're going to give y'all advance on kind of what show topics are going to be. I think we're going to announce here at the end what the next episode will be. But joining the Discord is a great way to do that. You can also send in voicemails. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, me too.
This would be so rad. So if you listen to the show, if you want to send in a voicemail to bitharmonypod@gmail.com, that's bitharmonypod@gmail.com, bitharmonypod@gmail.com. We will play it on the show unless you send in something weird and bad. We'll play it and let your voicemail be heard. Support the show on Patreon. You can get early access to it. A bunch of other exclusive content that goes up on Patreon. We're going to do 24-hour exclusive early access for this one. And we appreciate everybody for checking it out. And do we want to talk about what the next episode is?
Yeah. So what? That's April 21st is when that's supposed to go up.
Yep.
We're gonna be doing Anodyne 2: Return to Dust.
Hell yeah.
I think this game is meaningful to both Seth and I, both individually and from a friendship perspective.
Right.
Not to mention that Melos Hantani is like, I think like definitely my favorite indie video game composer at this point, but like pretty high up there in general, like top 3 easy, I think, for me.
Totally. Yeah, same. My favorite like modern consistently working composer, I would say. Yeah.
So yeah, we're covering that. Anodyne 2: Return to the Dust. That'll be up on April 21st. In regards to any emails, I guess I should also mention you can just send in a normal email too if you want. It doesn't have to be a voicemail, but I would love if we start having like voicemails to play on the show. That would make me extremely happy. But yeah, if you have any thoughts about this episode, any of the songs that we played, or just any comments at large, feel free to send that to that bitharmonypod@gmail.com. And then, yeah, if you have anything to say about Anodyne 2 ahead of time, feel free to do that too. I guess just mark what games you're talking about in the subject line in that case. And that's it from us at Bit Harmony. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.